What's up, knife nerds? This is Eric here at Mebane. We are coming to you from inside Racketback Armory. I'm here with my buddy Josh Corman, and we are going to do an unveiling of this awesome chopper that I just made for him. And it was inspired by the Gil Hibben's chopper that we reviewed a couple of weeks ago. So I'm going to have him open this up and give us his first impressions, see what he thinks.
Geez. I've wanted a Gil Hibben chopper since high school. It was always out of like my reach. And then now as an adult, I was like, I finally, I was able to get one and it was really, really exciting. But then Korda here was like, I wanted to take a crack at that. And I'm so excited to see like how he's interpreted it and made it his own. So
let's open it. Let's see what's in there. All my knives are coated in oil and wrapped in paper, and that's to prevent rust from forming as the knives sit in storage.
Oh, wow. Jeez Louise. That is so cool. First of all, it's just beautiful. It feels more elegant and intentional. Like the Gil Hibben is an awesome knife, but like it was made by a machine. You know? Oh my gosh, it's got your stamp on it.
Yep.
Like
You got the super rare double stamp.
I'll take
That'll be worth money someday when I'm rich and famous.
Hell yeah, let's get there. So I'm noticing like the amber hues in the hilt here are just stunning, and then the way you have this like piece of wood. I love that transition. Is this brass?
That's brass. That's solid brass.
It's just beautiful. It's beautiful.
We went with the organic shape on the butt plate here to match the shape of the antler.
The way it's
very organically shaped.
That is so custom. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it absolutely matches every contour of the antler. That is so cool. I just love these amber earthy tones though, and it fits perfectly.
It's almost got a pistol grip feel.
It absolutely does.
Because this moose antler just has like almost feels like a wheel gun in your hand, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. This thing could have been retired off of a revolver.
For sure. The blade's 1095. It is, you'll notice, quite a bit narrower than the Gil Hibben's, and it's also thinner stock. That Gil Hibben's was full 1/4 inch stock. This is 3/16. A little bit lighter, a little bit more intentional. Will definitely perform better. You'll be able to swing this a little bit easier, and the recovery will be easier for sure. You'll notice the Hibben line. This was differentially heat treated, so the edge is hard and the spine is soft.
Oh my god!
That's because it's meant to be a chopping implement. So as you're whacking on stuff, right, this acts as kind of a shock absorption, having this softer steel on the back end there.
So I've seen this kind of pattern in some like Japanese swords.
Oh, absolutely.
Is that the same thing?
Yep. It's the Japanese like to use Hibbens a lot. Actually, I think that is a Japanese technique. Don't quote me on that.
It's so cool.
I think it is.
So why is this like grainier texture? I love this look. Why is it like that?
Yeah, so when I quenched this blade, I only quenched the bottom like 3/4 inch right here by the edge, right? And I left this whole top part of the blade out of the oil, right? So this part's soft and this part's hard. Then I went and I forced the patina by etching it in ferric chloride. And when it goes into the ferric chloride, because this is hard and this is not as hard, this etches faster than the hardened edge. It forms like a carbide structure molecularly, which is very, very hard.
Why do that? Like, what's the benefit of that?
Yeah, so having the softer edge here makes it less prone to breaking when you're taking like heavy impact. Or if and don't do this, but if you were to like use it as a prying implement, this would flex a little bit versus snap, right? And it's only going to flex so far before it snaps, but it leaves a little more springiness in there. If I were to make the entire blade this hard, then if you were just whacking away, there is a chance that you hit something hard and it would crack or break or something like that, or the edge would chip out. We don't want any of that.
So interesting.
So we differentially heat treat this so that the edge is hard and the spine is soft. This lends itself to chopping blades.
And what is this kind of channel here, and why?
So this is a fuller, and if you look, I fullered the full length of the blade. I think the example, the Gil Hibben's, was skeletonized. I think it went all the way through, and it was only for like maybe a couple of inches right here near the hilt. I went ahead and fullered the full length on both sides, and I did that to remove weight without compromising the structural strength of the blade. So fullers are traditionally used for removing weight. That's what they're for. And we've learned over time that this is a way to remove some mass, again, without weakening the structural integrity of the blade. It's just as strong as it was without that material, but we've probably removed a couple of ounces from it. Skeletonizing is, I don't recommend that. You can do it, but it is inherently like weakening your blade.
Why does that make it weaker?
Well, you're cutting a hole all the way through it, as opposed to just channeling out and leaving some webbing in between in the middle there. Keeps all of the mass like in one homogeneous piece, right? And it's not like a tuning fork. There's no vibration happening, you know.
Gotcha. And so what is this wood, and how did you get this coloration in this antler?
Yeah, for sure. So the wood here, the bolster is zebra wood. It's an African exotic hardwood. It's got a really highly figured grain pattern, which is nice. The antler section is moose antler. This is sort of like, so one of the tines that came out, brow tines, this is near the base of that antler where it's kind of more ovoid. And if this antler was still on the moose, right, it would come to a point this way. It would come off into a point, right? So it's sort of the base of one of those points. And they are white. Most antler that's been out in the wild or whatever, has been weathered or anything, is like bone white. And sometimes there's discolorations in there, greens, reds, almost like blood stains or grass stains kind of looking on the white. So these I dye. And I dye them to look more like they would naturally before they got all weathered and like sun bleached. Because the whole antler is dyed, as I start removing material, shaping and polishing, right, it exposes some of the inner layers. So these outermost layers almost look like wood bark, right? And as you're grinding and removing stuff away, you get to see kind of inside.
Different layers of like the sediment. That's so cool.
For sure, yeah. And if I wasn't dyed, it would be stark white, and it looks like bone, or what we call poor man's ivory, which is antler. Right?
How did you shape the base like this to the antler? That is such an amazing detail.
Yeah, so I start off, all of this brass starts off as bar stock of different thicknesses. This was 1/2 inch thick bar stock, and this was 1/4 inch thick bar stock. But when I start with the bar stock, this would just start as a square plate, and I would drill it and affix it onto the handle first, and it would be way oversized. It would be a big fat square plate on the end of this handle. Then I start by cutting all that excess off and getting it kind of tight near the handle material. And once I have it kind of rough shaped in there so that it's still pretty rectangular, I go to different sets of contact wheels on my grinder, which are just the round wheels the belt rotates around. And I can scallop out these inset pieces like one at a time. So I'd scallop this, scallop this, scallop this, and then round these parts off on my belt like so. And then once that's all done, I take like a Dremel rotary tool and get all of the smaller radiuses in there and clean it up, match it, make sure and I'm feeling all the time to make sure it's smooth, make sure there's no gaps, no bumps, no ridges.
I mean, it looks like it's growing out of the hilt. Like it looks like it is grown with the bone. It's really perfect.
Yeah,
it's beautiful.
The final step is all by hand. I use emery paper or emery cloth and just...
How much time does that take?
Well, I don't watch the clock because it's a labor of love, right? If you try to calculate then the hourly rate you're working for, it's depressing. So I don't do it. I think more in terms of flat rate, right?
Oh man!
But I probably have let me think. Probably somewhere between 60 and 100 hours of labor
into this
blade. Yeah.
And how is this all secured together?
Yeah, so the tang is a 3/4 tang, and that is part of the blade itself. The guard is slotted on the mill and fit and then soldered in place. The zebra wood is, again, slotted, and then it goes over the tang. That is epoxied in place with 2-part epoxy. It's got 3,000 PSI shear strength. Wow. Very, very strong. Typically, the wood will break before the boot joint will. So it's very, very strong. This moose antler came from Alaska. A friend of mine harvested this moose a few years ago and sent the antler to us. So cool to use. I actually have a few more pieces still available. Again, it's slotted. It is 2-part epoxied over the tang, and then it is pinned in place with a stainless steel pin. The butt cap has a pin and hole, a peg that goes through it, like a dowel pin, and then it is glued in place as well with the same 2-part epoxy. Typically, for a construction like this, I would do a 3-tang that goes all the way through and is either peened or soldered on the back here. I did not go that route with this piece. Just trying something different.
Yeah. So what would the turnaround time? I know you said it's 60 to 100 hours of your time, but like if somebody wanted to have something of this size, this style, like what is the turnaround time of something like this?
So, Forged and Fire style, right? Quick and dirty, bang out a functional blade that's just chock full of scratches and doesn't look very great and probably doesn't have really high quality fit and finish, but will work, right? That's not a hard thing to do. I can do that in a day, right? It's all the finish work that takes forever. It's chasing every single scratch. Like, this is a lot of surface area to chase every single scratch, right? And make it look silky smooth like that.
Mm.
That's hand polished to 600 grit. And then after that, I take the fine scratches out with 1,000 grit. Then it goes into the acid. Then it gets polished on a wheel with green, black, and then green polish. So it's many, many repetitive steps over and over and over. And I don't just sit down and do it. Like, it's not something that I work on all day, every day for a couple of weeks and I got 100 hours into it. You know what I mean? This blade, I think I have 3 months maybe. It depends on what else I have on my bench. And a blade of this size, you can't just sit down and hand sand in one go. It takes a couple hours here and there over the course of a few weeks.
Well, and if you're hand sanding it too, I imagine cramping up, carpal tunnel, like it's hard.
It gets bad after a while, yeah, dude.
So what is like a range someone could like expect to pay potentially for a custom piece of work like this in this year, 2025?
Yeah,
because I know,
sure.
as you develop as an artist, as you develop a catalog, like exclusivity, is an issue. Right now, like what are you charging for something like this?
Yeah, something like this would probably run in around the $600 range. About half of that is in material and the other half is in labor. And that price really doesn't come down a whole lot. There's no economy of scale for doing like production runs. Everything is handmade. The same amount of effort and work goes into every single piece. There is no like production run, right? So making two is double the work, not 1.5 times the work, right?
And that's why like the Gil Hibben, so cool, absolutely like made by a machine. Like I remember seeing like coarseness from where it was cut with a water jet, like
for sure.
Some spots, like
yeah.
And it's why it's $100,
Yeah.
And so yeah, to see something like, I mean, this was crafted by an artist over the course of months, like that's
for sure. I mean, you'll see some nicks and dings in the spine from where I forged the curve into the blade. You know what I mean?
Cool.
You won't see that out of a blade that was cut from that shape, right? And to be honest, I could have chased these little nicks and dings and made them go away, but you lose something when you do that. You do. You just lose something.
You get a machine press if you want it to look machine pressed, right?
I mean, I could get a water jet cut too if that's what we want to do, right?
Yeah.
Again, no economies of scale. I'm not doing them on volume, so I'm not getting any deals from any water jet cutters, right? Now, 100% handmade, which is the way I like it. I can't produce too many because they take a long time. I try to source the absolute finest and hardest to get materials, like Alaskan moose antler. You can't just go to the store and buy it,
The zebra wood.
The zebra wood. You can fetch that online, but again, you're going to have to go to some specialty like wood turning stores if you want to find that in person.
Mm. So what about maintenance and upkeep for a knife like this? Like how can someone who buys one of your blades get the most life out of it?
This is a high carbon steel blade, which means it is absolutely very prone to rust, right? It will rust if you let it. The best way to care for your knives is to use them, clean them, keep them dry. Don't store them in the leather sheaths. That will do two things. One, it will tarnish all the brass. The leather resting up against it will turn green, and it will stain your leather green as well. Mm-hmm. And the other thing is the leather will hold some moisture, even just humidity from the air, and it makes contact with the steel, and it will give you surface level rust, and it will happen fast. So don't store it in the leather sheath. If you look at my case, none of these are in their sheaths. The other thing you can do is if you're not going to be using it for a while, throw some oil or some wax on it. Just like Renaissance wax or beeswax is fine. You can just rub it on there and then wipe it off, and it leaves a very thin coat on there, protects it from moisture. The easiest thing is oil, right? You don't have to get fancy with it. Get Pam and go shh, shh,
really?
And wipe it off with a paper towel and you're done.
Huh.
That's all you need to do. This particular blade has a forced patina. That's going to help protect itself from surface corrosion. So that etching we did in ferric chloride, what it did was it put you'll notice this is more gunmetal gray than shiny. It was shiny when it went into the acid, and it comes out gunmetal gray because it's now pitted the surface of this steel microscopically, and those pits hold on to oils. and that helps protect the steel. It also is puts a light like oxidation layer over the top, similar to bluing. So this is that oxidation layer is very similar to the bluing process, and the etching is very similar to like parkerization. So if you're a gun person, parkerizing, right? They etch it to get that pitting, and then they coat in oil, and the oil gets in all those little recesses and pits, right? Same kind of deal here. Bluing, you use salts to do a controlled oxidation, which puts a coat, like a layer over the steel, and protects it from rust. Etching in ferric chloride is less effective than bluing. It's about the same as parkerization, and it is by far less effective than Cerakote. Cerakote is absolutely the most effective way to prevent your high carbon steel from corroding or rusting at all. But it ain't cheap. Cerakote is a whole nother process. It's got material and labor costs associated with it as well. So to add that to a blade like this is going to run about another $100 on top of my work.
But it's Cerakoted, and then it'll. I mean, at that point, you don't have to maintain.
There's no maintenance whatsoever. Yeah, with the Cerakote, you don't have to do anything. It will just live its life happy.
Nice.
And you can choose whatever color you want.
And you do that here?
Or pattern. Yeah, we do that right here at Rackaback. We've got lots of examples of blades and guns that have been Cerakoted here in-house. All kinds of options for patterns, colors, whatever you want.
That's awesome. I'm so impressed and so happy. It's like you've taken my dream knife from the time I was, a teenager, and like taken it and interpreted it in a way that's just so much cooler, so much more alive, so much more real. It looks like it's its own entity. Like this knife, this blade has character.
It's a one of a kind for sure. Some of the things that really stood out to me about the Gil Hibbens that I wanted to capture were the shape of the guard, right? He had an S guard on his, which was really cool. And then the organic sort of recurved S shape of the whole piece. It had an upward swept curve on the blade and a downward swept handle, which gave this awesome recurve, this sexy S shape. So I really, really wanted to capture that in this. What I did not want was as a handle that was as chunky and heavy as the Gil Hibben, and I didn't want a blade with quite as much belly as the Gil, because it just didn't feel very wheelie, right? It felt very forward heavy. This, I wanted something that would both look good and perform well. And I think dimensionally, this will outperform the Gil Hibben, just by virtue of its thickness, its belly width, its curvature, and its heat treat. Yep, again, I'm Eric. I am the owner of Mebane Made Custom Knives. I'm here inside Rackaback Armory in downtown Mebane. If you have any interest in a custom knife, a knife repair, sharpening, or a custom build, please come in and see me. Give me a call. You can find me online. Appreciate your time. Thanks for stopping by and checking out this awesome chopper that we made. We're going to step outside in a little bit, and we're going to do a test to see just how this thing performs. Ready?